So, good morning, everyone. Hi, Jen. Good morning. So welcome to our joint health and balance class. So this morning, I'm gonna do a little bit different. We're gonna start on our feet. So we'll start with the lighter balance exercises, and then that's gonna touch up on part of our neck, and then we'll transition to the chair and then stand up, and lastly we'll do the stuff on the floor. And then just some announcements. Next week is spring break, so if you have any courses at Santa Ana College, and you might want to check other colleges too, you we will not be meeting next week. Okay, so next week, if you folks would like, I could always put like a video on the Canvas page so you could do something throughout the week. But yeah, just enjoy the weather, go out, go for a walk. Anything that's going to supplement your health, it's always great. But again, we will not meet next week. The next time I will see you, folks, will be in 2 weeks, which is April 15th. We're already in April. That's wild. So yeah, so any questions before we start about anything?
Morning.
Hi, Carmen. Hi, Kathleen. So,
Morning.
and then just what I would say is if you haven't done the pre-assessment, I know this is our week 3 now, so you want to get to that, just so we could start, we don't want to skew the results too much, if we're getting, foreseeing already improvement in our balance. So, but yeah, just take care of that, send me the results, and then we will go from there. So, other than that, everyone that send me your information to be re-enrolled in the summer, I took care of that already. If you weren't able to get back to me by last Friday, unfortunately, you'll have to enroll yourself. But if you did, I think there's about 21 of you that did. You should be good to go. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start with our Romberg stance. So Romberg stance, your feet are right next to each other right here, pretty close. And then we're just going to stand here and just try to, identify any little imbalances. For some, maybe we're already feeling a little shaky. I know usually I've had, um, like if I twist my ankle or if my calves are a little tight or my arches are, this stance here could be, a little bit taxing already. So hopefully everyone's feeling good with this one. We're gonna look left to right now. So slowly looking left to right. Up and down. Up and down. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and close our eyes. And remember, if you feel unsafe, always open your eyes and separate your feet. You might feel a little swaying. You could always have your chair nearby and just kind of hover your hand over the chair so we feel safe. Very good. Right, go ahead and relax. You can just open up your stance a little bit. And we're just gonna just gently do some arm circles here, some windmills. So just gentle. We don't want to go fast with these. We just want good range of motion. Reverse. And switch. reverse. All right, very good. Let's go ahead and do snow angels. So just right here. Make sure you're breathing comfortably. Very good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and test our balance. So let's go right foot in front of your left. So our tandem stance here. Right foot in front of your left. So this does change your base. Instead of being a square, like the Romberg stance, this is more of a long rectangle. So again, you might notice a little bit more, you know, shaking or leveling off. But again, if you want to have a chair nearby or something to lean on just in case, it's totally fine. All right, let's look left to right. Whoop, and there we go. All right, up and down. Morning, Doris. All right, we're gonna elevate our back foot. So just elevate it. You could completely elevate it, or you could just keep your toes in contact. So I'll turn here just so you could see. So it could be elevated here or just drop that toe. Looks like a flamingo stance here. And then from here, what I'm going to ask you to do is do a gentle high knee. So by gentle, I just mean slowly. So just drive that knee up and then back down. And you might feel that foot that's not moving, just trying to grip the floor, or you might feel a pressure point on the heel or on the forefoot. Okay, set that foot back to where it was. And this is where you want to be careful. Again, if you have the chair nearby, use it. We're going to close our eyes, but before we do that, if you don't feel safe, just open your eyes and separate your stance, and you'll be fine. Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes. And this is where you really start to feel that shake. Again, it's okay, totally fine if you have to open your eyes and correct yourself. We don't want any accidents. We just want to test our balance. And open your eyes. All right, very good. All right, we'll give our feet a little bit of a break, just kind of shake them off. You do these long enough, your arches will start hurting, especially if you're flat-footed like me. So, all right, let's go ahead, just go a wider stance so your feet are comfortable. Let's bring that right arm across. Right arm across. Let's go ahead and switch. Okay, to stretch our tricep, we're gonna bring our arm up and drop that forearm, drop that wrist. And apply a little bit of pressure downwards on that elbow to get a little bit of a stretch. Morning, Olivia. Let's go ahead and switch. So left arm, drop it, drop that. Okay, we're gonna go with some trunk rotations, so just gentle trunk rotation. So just turn your torso side to side. Your feet aren't moving, they're fixed. Make sure you're breathing comfortably. Go with big hula hoops. Okay, so big, giant hip circles. Oof. April 1st already. It's wild. Switch. Technically next month, summer term begins already, so big hip circles. All right. We did our right foot in front of our left. Now let's go left foot in front of our right to complete the tandem stance here. And then after this one, we will drop down to the chair and do some stretches there, and then we'll get back on our feet later. Do we have any questions regarding the summer? Feel free to unmute yourself. All right, we're gonna look left to right.
Julio, did you get my mails? The register? The register
Yeah.
is in.
Yeah.
Okay, we are fine.
You're good to go. Yeah, I went through every email, maybe twice or three times. I went through my inbox to make sure I didn't forget anyone. So up and down. It hasn't shown on my end that the re-enrollment has actually happened yet, but they do have the list. I think they manually have to do it, but I have sent the list out. Up and down. Right, and this is where we elevate that right hind leg. So again, just your flamingo pose here. Right, and then let's bring that right knee up and then back down, up, down. One more. All right, drop that foot behind. And then this is where it gets tricky. So we're gonna close our eyes, but again, same idea, open them if you don't feel safe or comfortable. Okay, let's open your eyes. Very good. All right, let's grab our chair. My arches are burning. So anyone else feet are burning a little bit. So, oh, and again, those are some that we want to try barefoot. So if you have your shoes on, maybe next time we could do these barefoot. So, all right, so we did our left to right. Let's go ahead and do our neck circles. We're just gonna go ahead and just gently rotate our neck, trying to keep contact with our chest, our shoulders. Switch. Let's go ahead and look left, but we are going to apply a little bit of pressure on our chin so we can get a little bit more rotation. Go ahead and look right. Got some pressure there. Relax. Let's go ahead and set in our left hand. Keep that shoulder fixed. Bring that right hand over and allow the weight of your arm to stretch out that left side of your neck. Go ahead and switch. Sit on that right hand. Left hand comes over. Very good. Relax. All right, we're gonna do some shoulder circles here. So just drop your arms down and then shoulders come up, forward, down, back, and just repeat. Reverse. So back, down, forward, and up. Very good. We're gonna just scoot the chair back. We're gonna sit towards the front of the chair. I'm gonna separate my knees away from each other so I have some space between my legs. I'm gonna stretch out, my hands up and straight, keeping those arms extended. You're gonna reach from the top and bring those arms down and forward and come back and reset. Okay. So again, reach, back is straight, come back, reach, reach. I'm gonna do two more. And reach. Last one. Reach. Oh, awesome. Okay. We're gonna just do some work with our shoulder here. So, or actually our scapula, which is gonna be our wings back there. So just kind of bring your elbows back, try to meet them behind you and relax. It's really working on stretching out your back. So bring those elbows back behind you. Relax. Elbows back. Relax. Back. Relax. Good. All right. Let's go ahead. Arm door openers. So bring your elbow to your side and just bring your forearm in and out. So keep that elbow to your side. We're just gonna rotate that arm out as much as we can. Other side, elbow in. Two more. Last one. Very good. All right, we're gonna go ahead, bring your elbows to your side and bring them out and reset. Is anyone doing any traveling soon or traveling right now? Last one. Great. All right, we're gonna go with trunk rotation. Okay, so trunk rotation, we're just gonna grab the side and the backrest of our chair. Just a gentle turn. Just hold it. Let's go left. Grab the left side and pull. All right. We're gonna go with hip openers. So we're gonna, in the sitting position, bring your right knee and leg out as far as you can without causing any pain. And before it collapses downward, just keep your hand there so it does get a nice stretch. Again, we just want to get a nice angle in this direction. Great. Let's step back, left side. Keep your torso upright. and reset. Okay, we're gonna do our piriformis stretch, and then we're gonna get back on our feet and do some more standing movements. Right ankle on your left knee. Right ankle on left knee. Let's go with a gentle push down. Gentle push, or just rest your forearm on that knee. Let's bring that knee up and just hold it. Could hug it a little bit. Feel that stretch on that upper piriformis, upper hamstring. Okay, we're gonna switch. Left ankle on that right knee. Left ankle on that right knee. So, all right. Left knee, gently push it down. Gentle push down. Let's hug it out. So grab a hold. Just hold it here. Right, very good. Let's grab some water, stretch out a little bit, give yourself a little bit of space. We're gonna get on our feet right now. A little bit of water, stay hydrated. I know this cooler weather feels nice, but we wanna hydrate. Wanna make sure we're being proactive and not reactive here. So, all right. So let's go ahead and do a quad stretch. So we're standing. Go ahead and grab right above your ankle and pull back. So stretching our quad and also working on our balance. So again, you could always hover your hand over a table or a chair. Okay, let's switch. All right, awesome. We're gonna walk the tightrope. So find me the longest straight that you have in your room. It could be diagonal, it could be a hallway. We're gonna do our tightrope. Remember, this is one of our assessment exercises, so we do want to practice these. So just one foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. Walking the tightrope. Once you reach the end, you could go in reverse. And again, just be mindful of little sensations that you're feeling. Hopefully no pain. Maybe just a little bit of shakiness, just totally normal. Okay. Once you're back to your spot, now we're gonna do it on our forefoot. Okay, so maybe a little bit more space in between each step. But now we are just on our forefoot, our metatarsal area, just on your tippy toes, pretty much, Heidi. So yeah, so let's elevate the heels off the ground. So on your forefoot, and you'll notice that your calves will probably either be activating and maybe even get a little bit flared up. So, which makes sense because you're reducing, you know, the heel, any support from the heel there. Very good. All right. Awesome. So this next one is one that we haven't done this term yet. So this is called around the clock one-legged squat. Okay. So for this one, just imagine you're in the center of a clock. You have 12 o'clock here, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9, and so forth. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna elevate the right leg for this one. You're just gonna elevate it. You could elevate it as high as you can or as low as you can, but you're pretty much gonna tap on each hour around the clock. Okay, so we're gonna go 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2. You see how this leg is going up and down? 3, 4, and so forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin. And go ahead. So 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the lower you go, 5, the more you're asking your quad to work. 6. And then this is where it gets tricky. 7, 8. You're gonna feel that curtsy lunge. 9. And then come over 10, 11, and back to 12. All right. Just kind of relax right there. I know from like 7, 8, and 9 o'clock, that one could get a little tricky. And it probably activating your glutes a lot on that one. So now we're gonna go in reverse, okay, with our left leg. So right leg is fixed. We're gonna go 12 o'clock, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We don't want to do too much leaning. We just want to drop by our hips. 5. Oh, 4. Right there. 3, 2, 1. And I missed that one. Back to 12. All right. Awesome. Very good. So again, you'll feel that burning maybe right above your knees. Totally normal because we're asking your legs to just work in that area. Okay, so very cool. Let's go ahead and begin with our standing hip openers now. Okay, so again, some balance work here. So we're gonna drive right knee up, then go out, down, up, and down. So that would be 1. We're gonna do 5. So remember, this is one also of our pre-assessment. So hopefully we are improving on this one. It's a good stretch for your hip joint and also for your balance. Got 2 more. And I think we were judging this one based on your rating perception of how challenging This one it is for yourself. So, very good. So just kind of shake it off. Nice to get a little tight. When you're ready, let's work the left leg. So left knee up, out, down, up, move, down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Awesome. All right, let's go back on the chair. We're gonna finish off with our chair stretches, and then we'll do our shoulders and a couple floor things. So, all right. Everyone's good. Quiet class today. So, but we do have people with their cameras on, so I do appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and just start stretching our legs. So just kind of sit towards the front of the chair, recline back, bring that knee close to your chest, and just extend that lower leg. Okay, reset. Doing about 10 to 12 of each. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is working on stretching your hamstring. That's the muscle that's lifting and pulling. Okay, and then now from the same position, we're gonna bring the knee in, kick out, drop that heel and rotate it back in. Almost like if you're like this sitting bicycle here. And again, the idea is just to move those joints in ways that we typically don't move them. So unless you're riding a bicycle, this motion here might be a little foreign. You might do each motion individually in different parts of your day, but this motion together, I don't know. I can't imagine besides a bicycle what else you would be doing this. So very good. All right, here we go with our chair squats. Okay. So chair squats, we're gonna go ahead and do 8 of each. So just 8 regular standing ones. So don't use your hands, just come up and sit back down. Make sure that chair does not slip behind you. Do not want any accidents. And I always find myself feeling more confident about standing when I stab my heels into the floor. Let's do 3 more. 2 more. And last one. Good. Well, just catch your breath. Hopefully those are getting easier for everyone. So this is where it could get a little bit more challenging. So for this one, I definitely want you to start testing yourself a little bit more. So if you only stick to the ones we just did, I'm gonna challenge you to extend your leg a little bit. Doesn't have to be completely extended. It could just be, your big toes on your right foot, maybe it could be a couple inches in front of your big toes on your left foot, but we do want, some separation. And if you're more advanced, you could elevate that foot, okay? So we're gonna do 8 here. So I'm gonna place my heel on my right foot parallel to my toes on my left foot, okay? So come up, and now that's allowing most of the weight to be on that left quad. And once you're like, okay, this isn't too bad, doesn't feel too bad, then just try extending that heel a little bit more. And that's really gonna offload the weight into your left side a little bit more. And if that feels easier, then just hopefully at some point we could elevate that right leg. I think we have one more. Very good. And when the elevating gets too easy, then at that point you need to grab a dumbbell and do a weighted. So there's always a way to challenge it. So, all right. All right, here we go. So right foot is fixed, left foot is extended now. Go ahead. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Boom. Good work. All right. We're gonna do some hip adductions or lower leg adductions. So from here, just sitting here. For this one, I'm gonna just put my hands underneath my right leg. So my right leg is floating. And I'm just gonna swing on the lower leg of my right leg as far out to the right as possible, which isn't gonna get very far. So it might be a couple inches. But you see how I'm just wanting to swing it out. And that's working on our muscles in this area. So go about 6 of these. So I'm just swinging it out. Like I said, there's not much movement going on. The actual movement of the joint is happening right there inside your femur, that ball socket into your hip joint. Hopefully that's not painful. Once you're done with 6, switch to the other side. Well, I'm trying to swing it as far out as possible. One more. Very good. All right. We're going to do some lower leg exercises here to prevent shin splints, knee pain. So we're going to do some quick heel raises, just activating the calf muscles. This is one of my go-to when these next ones that we're about to do right here with the lower legs, I would recommend doing these before a walk. So you avoid any soreness or tightness, any tight calves. It's usually my issue with my legs. All right, now your feet are flat. You can recline back, and now you're bringing your toes up towards the ceiling, back down. So toes up, back down. That's working on your anterior tibialis, which is that you place your hands in your lower legs, you'll feel that muscle activating. For runners, that's usually this is one of the stretches or movements that helps prevent shin splints. Has anyone had shin splints before? I never had shin splints until I started running. Let's do our ABCs with our ankles. We just elevate that right foot and just trace the letters of the alphabet. Yeah, shin splints it's one of those sensations that when you know you have it, you know what I'm talking about. It's not fun. Let's switch. Kathleen, Carmen, you guys haven't gotten shin splints before?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Have you gotten shin splints before?
Oh, yes, I had in the past.
Okay, I'm not
Oh,
alone.
no. You know what it was? It wasn't shin splints. It was fasciitis or
Oh, plantar fasciitis. Yeah.
yes, plant. Uh-huh. That was like
Yeah.
crazy painful.
I
Yeah.
missed what you were saying. If we had what?
Shin splints?
Uh, yeah,
No.
maybe. I don't
Maybe.
remember.
It's
Yeah,
like
I remember when I was in gymnastics a long time ago.
Yeah.
I did have that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a similar sensation as plantar fasciitis, but right here on your legs. So hopefully everyone did their homework last week and has their golf ball. So if you have your golf ball, go get that right now. If you don't have a golf ball, what could work too, it's like a canned good, a little spherical firm item. I've used a potato before, but I had to toss it after. So I would just go ahead with the golf ball, a little bit of foam rolling on your arches. So this is another thing that I do as well when I feel like my shoes are getting a little old, or if you constantly have arch inflammation that comes out of nowhere, sometimes it's time to replace your shoes. If you need orthotics, it could be that. Sometimes a long day at Disneyland will do that. So, and then this is one of the plantar fasciitis and shin splints is usually one of the common injuries you see after New Year's. Let's switch. It's one of those injuries that usually happen when you're doing too much exercise too soon or too fast. And with folks, with their resolutions around New Year's, yeah, you're like, I'm going to start running on January 1st. And they start doing a little bit too much. And then they get one of these injuries, and then they just think running or walking is not for them. But you just got to be, pretty gradually build that up. And just gentle rotations here. Find a spot that's a little tender. And just to the left of it, maybe push down a little bit. And then relax. Let's go to the right of that little spot. I mean, unless it's me, but I always feel like there's always a sensation somewhere on my foot that's a little bit more sharp than others. Okay. Very good. Awesome. Let's go ahead and do some leg swings over our chair. So you will need your chair for this one, but you also need a counter. So for this one, I'm just going to use my table here. What we're going to do is just do a swing over and back, and don't feel obligated to use that top area of your chair. You could use the bottom sitting area too. Okay, so we'll do 6 in each direction. So one, and then 2. So my leg's going over that chair. 2. We'll do 5. So we could get on with our shoulder stretches. 3, 4, 5, and 5. Gonna switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. Great. If you have a pretty secure chair, gonna stretch out our hip a little bit. Just gonna place your foot on the edge of it, and then just drive your knee forward. You're gonna get a little bit of a stretch on your calf. And then also on your groin. So you could come up this way. And then lean forward. Yeah, so just kind of driving your knee forward and then back, but also bringing your hips back. That's going to stretch your hamstrings. One more. Very good. Switch legs. So drag. Back. All right. Let's go ahead and grab our broomstick, our foam roller, whatever item we use to stretch out our shoulders. Let's go ahead and grab that. So grab some water if you have time, or if you like. All right. Grab our foam roller here. I'm just gonna start going left to right. Left shoulder, focusing on that left shoulder. So right hand is pushing, left hand is guiding. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, 30 degrees forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 60 degrees forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, straight ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now towards the back. So going back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Gonna push with our left hand, guide with the right hand. So working on that right shoulder. Ready? Go ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, 30 degrees forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right in front of you, 90. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, towards the back. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, now we use both hands behind our back, up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then now we're gonna lift. Go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. All right, we're gonna just finish off with a couple stretches on the floor. We're gonna be doing the cat-cow stretches, just for our back. So we won't spend too much time, but it is some of my favorite stretches to do. So you could set up your yoga mat. Set up your yoga mat. We'll be done shortly. So you're here to just be belly down. And just rest on your elbows. Okay, so just resting on your elbows, belly down. Just getting a light stretch on our back at the moment. All right, let's go ahead and place our hands where our elbows were and push up. All right, let's go ahead and bring our glutes to our heels in one motion. So from here, bring your glutes to your heels. Extend your hands in front of you. All right, reset, get on your fours. We're here on your fours. Now we're gonna go ahead and shift our hands to the right. So your knees don't move, just your hands move to the right. And then we're gonna arch our back. So arch up. And then drop your glutes back to your heels. Reset. Go ahead to the left now. To the left. Arch up. And drop your glutes back. Reset. All right. We'll do our book openers and then we will call it. Okay, so book openers, we're gonna go ahead, just lay on our side. So we're laying on our side, we're gonna tuck in our knees a little bit. You see my feet are stacked, my knees are stacked, now my hands are stacked. Okay, so from here, I'm just gonna follow my right hand, go as far back as possible, and reset. Okay, so we're doing 5 of these on each side. 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 5 of these on e Just follow your hand. Just scoot over. Two more. Last one. I'm gonna go ahead and switch. Go ahead and do 5 on that side. We'll be right back. All right, we should be good. Let's see. All right, everyone, how are you feeling? Pretty loose? More relaxed?
Much, much better.
Yeah, I've been pushing the pace a little bit on my runs and I don't know if it's worth it because I run my 8 mile run was about 2 minutes faster than usual, but now I'm like limping for the next hour. So I'm like, I'm just gonna slow down for 2 minutes so I could feel good for the next hour. So I don't think the benefits of running faster outweigh the pains that I'm going through. So I just bring that up because sometimes, yeah, we might feel like we could do a little bit more, but if you know how you're gonna end up doing, then just take the healthy route. So. Oh, I don't know why I do it, but I just get competitive with myself from yesterday, and yeah.
Now we talk. That's the competition thing,
Yeah.
huh?
Oh yeah, it's good. But everyone's good. Remember, next week we are not meeting.
That's right.
So next week is spring break. I know, Josefina, you had your spring break already, but you have another spring break. And then we come back and we have about 5 more weeks, and then the summer begins. And like I mentioned last week, I did get hired on at Irvine Valley. And so yeah, so if anyone else would like to join those classes, and I also, I guess I need to like build those classes up so I have something in the fall for them, because in the fall there'll be an option for Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think usually it's just Monday, Wednesday. But yeah, so I'll share that information once I have it. But any questions before we head out?
No question, Julio, gracias.
All right, folks.
Enjoy the holiday.
Enjoy. Don't party too crazy in Cancun and your spring break, okay, everyone?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take care.
Thank
All right,
you.
everyone.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.